Ah, hello there, Pyromaniacs. It's been a crazy year, hasn't it? Well, I've decided that with all the strife we've dealt with this year, that it would be nice to throw a nice non-denominational holiday party and invite a bunch of fellow YouTubers to join in. Granted, none of them have shown up yet, but I'm sure they'll pop in sooner or later. While I'm sure a lot of us are probably excited to leave this year behind us, there's one thing that's going to be left behind that many people my age would probably rather not. The thing I'm talking about is the Adobe Flash plugin, which will stop support at the end of 2020. The Flash plugin contributed so much to the childhoods of millennials and early Gen Z. Sites like Newgrounds, MiniClip, GameSloth. Am I the only one who remembers GameSloth? One of the more prominent examples of Flash-based websites is Neopets, a massively multiplayer online virtual pet thing that was absolutely massive in the early 2000s. The IP has shifted hands a lot over the years, starting from a young couple in a British apartment to the freaking Church of Scientology to Viacom, and is currently in the hands of Jumpstart. Yeah, remember Jumpstart? Of course you don't. But despite this franchise's rocky history, it was a huge phenomenon at a certain time and still has a thoroughly active community to this day. It was one of the first websites to spur a mainstream brand. And seeing the website's future lie in uncertainty is genuinely worrying for longtime fans. This uncertainty has made me think about the what-ifs. Specifically, what if the Neopets website goes down for good? What would we be left with? What other ways are there to experience Neopets? Luckily, there would be remnants, in the shape of 3 console games which we'll be looking at today. Oh wow, looks like the guests have started arriving. I wonder who it could be. The YouTuber formerly known as Monkey Jones!
Wait just a minute! Really? Neopets? You're making a video about Neopets? Hey everybody! This loser is talking about Neopets!
Well, that didn't exactly go as I expected. Anyway, let's blaze right into the Neopets console games. The first game I'll be covering is Neopets The Darkest Fairy, released in 2005 for the PS2 and developed by Idle Minds, now known as Deck 9. These guys might not sound familiar, but they actually worked on some games you might recognize. Most notably Ratchet Deadlocked and the worst Life is Strange game. This game is an open-world RPG with a lot of similarities to... what's that game called? Oh, Star Fox Adventures. The story starts out with an ancient evil emerging from a stone statue. A dark fairy known as... The Darkest Fairy. Really creative name there, guys. Good God. To go on a super nerdy tangent real quick, if you're gonna introduce a new dark fairy into the lore, at least give her a freaking name. For the longest time before playing this game, I just assumed this was just a super butchered version of Judora, and was surprised to learn that this is an all-new character without an actual name. Why do I care so much? I don't know, and I'm scared that I do. You start the game as a lowly farm boy dog wolf thing named Tormund, or Tor for short. You're tasked by your father to go to Not Hyrule Castle to make a delivery to the knights there. So equipped with nothing but a wooden sword to defend himself with, Tor sets off on his journey to deliver a package which, in traditional RPG fashion, quickly snowballs into him becoming a knight, learning of the Darkest Fairy's return, and being the only one who can stop it. It's at this point that we're taken away from Tor's story and introduced to this game's second protagonist, an apprenticed mage named Roberta, whose master sensed a disturbance in the Force and made a trip to Fiora the Fairy Queen for help. So let's talk about combat. Tor and Roberta both have very different sets of skills. Tor focuses a lot more on close-range melee combat, and Roberta is more of a ranged fighter. Despite their different fighting styles, both characters' movesets have a very strong focus on combos. The combo system is actually extremely basic, though. Time your button presses correctly to string together a sequence of attacks, and that's about it. The thing is that there aren't actually that many combos to pull off, so despite this system, the combat still feels pretty shallow and repetitive. Not to mention, it's pretty common for enemies to just outright dodge or block your attacks, thus interrupting your combo, so you're actually better off just mashing the attack button without even thinking about it. All enemies in the game have different elemental strengths and weaknesses that can be taken advantage of using these things called motes. These small smiley face things act as elemental enchantments for your weapons. They give you an upper hand in fights, but it's totally possible to beat the game without using them at all. In the latter part of the game, you can actually swap between Tor and Roberta seamlessly during combat to cover different situations. The problem with that is that swapping characters takes an unreasonably long time. Unlike a game like Sonic Heroes where you just press a button and instantly swap to that character, this game has this weird flash of light that happens whenever you swap characters that's just long enough to be both tedious and blinding. There's also the fact that Roberta's kinda useless in the later portions of the game due to there not being a ton of flying enemies around, therefore not giving you a lot of opportunities to utilize her strengths. This game also has the 6th gen RPG curse known as backtracking. Holy crap, there are so many quests in this game where you have to go all the way back to a previously visited area to do a thing, and then return to the quest giver all the way back to where you received the quest. I'd also like to remind you that this is an open world game with no fast travel. On one hand, it's really cool being able to explore places like Meridell, Brightvale, and Fairyland all in a fully realized 3D environment. On the other hand, traveling back and forth doing a bunch of monotonous fetch quests makes that childlike wonder die off pretty quickly. That being said, despite all of this game's jank, I thoroughly enjoyed my time with this game. There's so much to see and do in the world that it's hard not to just get lost in it. The game has a really heavy focus on exploration and discovery. It's not as extreme as something like Skyrim or The Witcher 3, but there's a lot to be seen and discovered. I'd probably compare this game in a lot of ways to Fable 2 minus that game's life sim elements. It's janky and half-baked at times, and the story's not the most original, but there's still a lot of fun to be had here. I'd say if you're a big fan of Eurojank RPGs like Gothic, Risen, or Fable, then you'll probably really enjoy your time with this game. But if you're looking for something a little bit more polished, then you're probably better off giving this one a pass. Oh, looks like we have another guest.
Neopets? Really, Pyro? Really? Trying to do that nice nostalgia baiting? Trying to be like Disney over here with your shitty live-action remakes? Trying to cash in on everyone's childhoods? Because you saw like a Penny Parker playthrough of Neopets and you went, whoa, that's doing well. I want that money too. And, actually, I gotta go. I gotta go do something, okay?
I'm starting to sense a trend and I'm not liking it. Anyway, on to the next game. Neopets Cohen, Pet Pet Adventures Cohen, The Wand of Wishing was released on the PlayStation Portable in 2006. Unlike most Neopets media, this game focuses on the pets, the pets of the Neopets. Hence the name, Pet Pet. The story begins with an Aisha gypsy named Megan and her pet named Fluffy running away from a skeeth called Arcos and his pack of werehund. Oh my god, saying that sentence out loud makes me want to make fun of me. Both Megan and Arcos were on the hunt for the legendary Wand of Wishing. Megan gets to it first, but at the last second it's thrown into a magic portal and Fluffy jumps into the portal after it. The game is a top-down RPG in the style of Diablo or Dark Alliance. First thing you do in the game is pick which species of pet you play as with different strengths and weaknesses, Elder Scrolls style. And personally, I find the idea of naming a reptile Fluffy unreasonably funny, and I deeply regret not choosing a croc for my playthrough for this reason and this reason only. So when you go through the portal, you're transported into the world of Petaria, where pets aren't just dumb animals, but are instead just as sentient and intelligent as people. So basically, this is like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon minus the dark twist of existential dread. From here, it's your typical classic RPG affair. 2 quests for NPCs, fight monsters, and collect loot. The combat in this game is actually surprisingly solid. Although technically less complex than the Darkest Fairy, it's still snappy and fun, but also offers a fair challenge. You don't have to deal with that weird character swapping stuff anymore. You just have melee weapons, ranged weapons, and spells that you alternate between seamlessly, and it all flows really well. The only thing that bugs me about this game is simply the way you level up. The leveling system is directly tied to earning tokens to boost your stats, and the only way to get tokens is by fighting in the Battle Dome. The thing is, you need to pay an entry fee to fight, and there's only a finite amount of currency in the game, so sometimes you genuinely have to choose between saving your money up for items or leveling up your skills. Honestly, I don't have a lot to say about this game, but I'd actually like to recommend this one. It's a genuinely fun RPG for the PSP, and I'd say that there's at least some bite-sized entertainment value even if you're not super into Neopets. The story's pretty bare bones and the leveling system is weird, but if you're looking for a top-down dungeon crawler and you just want want to turn your brain off, then I'd highly recommend giving this one a try. Neopets Puzzle Adventure was released in 2008 on both DS and Wii by Capcom. I kinda just went into this game expecting some basic Bejeweled clone, as is the style of these sorts of things, but it surprisingly has a lot more to it than that. It's actually kinda sorta a spin-off of another game series by the same developer called Puzzle Quest, which started out as a spin-off of another super obscure RTS series called Warlord. From there, the series has branched off into other licensed titles such as Marvel and Magic the Gathering. So why isn't this game called Neopets Puzzle Quest? Well, aside from this being from a different publisher, the Puzzle Quest games actually are pretty simple Bejeweled clones, while this game very much isn't. The puzzle in Neopets Puzzle Adventure is actually based on games like Othello, which is much more complicated than your typical color match game. This game is a chess-like strategy game, where you and your opponent start out with a certain number of colored pieces on the board and try to switch the colors of your opponent's pieces by adding new pieces to the board, trapping them. And you win by either wiping out the enemy pieces or by scoring more points than your opponent. Why they decided to give the obscure RTS series the color match game and the glorified Tamagotchi the strategy game, I have no idea.
Whoa, hold on a second, hold on. Sorry, I just had to come in for a little bit. Hi, I'm a person. This is apparently my video now. This is clearly not my channel, but, you know, Pyromon, what are you doing, bro? Like, what is this? Like, what is all this right here? Get with the game. Like, what are you, a grandma? Really? Like, there's so many other games. Like, you made some great stuff. Here is an old amp of mine, right? I need you to hear me out. Even though this is kind of busted up and stuff, it can still amplify pretty well. It can't amplify the amount of bullshit this video is gonna hold. Get out of here. What is this? Like, what are you doing? Wait, hold on. I'll be back. One sec. Excuse me, Sonny. I don't mean to be bothered, but I'm just looking to play some Candy Crush Christmas Edition. I'm wanting to play some good old puzzle games, but I was suggested by a few dozen by lordpyromon Pictures, and I thought it would have been a great idea. Like, get out of here. All right, I'm done. I'm done. I think so, at least. So, yeah. Check this out. This is a shameless plug, I will admit, but you should check it out anyway. All right, back to your originally scheduled video. Don't have too much fun now.
Anyway, this game actually has a lot more going on compared to its board game counterpart. As this is still for some reason trying to pass itself off as an RPG, there are weapons and pets that you can collect that have different effects on the game. Some of these items are pretty useful while others can absolutely screw you over. So this is a strategy-based puzzle game for kids. This can't be that hard of a game, right? Well, to be honest, out of all three of these games, this was the one that absolutely knocked my teeth in the most. This game is estimated to be beatable in less than 4 hours, but I seriously don't know how, considering how easy it is to get totally annihilated by your opponent after one false move. That's not even putting into account the RNG aspect of this game with the shockwave tiles. A tile that randomly appears and disappears on the board will randomly flip one of your opponent's pieces to your color. This sounds like it would be a godsend, but I swear 9 times out of 10 it benefits the AI, even if you're lucky enough to land on it. What was stopping this game from being a flash game on the website? It's not that big of a game, and the stuff that would be too big for a flash game could easily be cut down or removed entirely. If this game looks interesting to you, go ahead and just play the board game. Find some sort of simulator. I don't know. Just don't play this game. Good God. And that's all of them. Every single Neopets game for consoles. While some of these are pretty good, they're definitely no substitution for the website. But that being said, not all is lost. The people at Jumpstart seem to be slowly but surely converting the website to a hopefully more future-proof format. Plus, they're apparently also in talks to get a Neopets TV show off the ground. On a more serious note, I almost feel like Neopets is a weirdly good metaphor for this year. It's been a rocky road for everyone, and the future is uncertain. No matter what happens next year, nothing from here on out is going to be the same. But despite the future not looking as great as the past, at least there is a future, and we can make of it whatever we want. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, leave a like and become a pyromaniac yourself by subscribing. Until next time, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and remember to stay nerdy, my friends.